So now everyone in the world sees what's going on in Israel and the crimes that are going on in Gaza, except the Hollywood capitalist class. I read it many times explaining why I don't personally understand the appeal of listening to millionaire celebrities. That's just me. They do not have our interests at heart. They will always be held back due to their class position. Rogan has a deal with Spotify. Rogan had a deal with a lot of people in Hollywood who are Zionists. So he's not going to tell the truth about Israel. He's going to sit on the fence. So this clip is extremely interesting for multiple reasons. Because Bobby Lee, the person he's talking to, is going to explain how Israel also gets a lot of celebrities to support the state of Israel. So let's watch this clip. So there are many things to analyze here. I think this is on a recent episode of Joe Rogan. This has been going around everywhere. So
you guys are good together. I want to talk to you about an episode that I saw. But you having to go to Israel. Was that on that or was that somewhere else?
Yeah, was that?
What was that like? Tell me what happened. Oh, God. Do you not want to talk about it?
I can do it. Because I'm not saying anything that's like wrong. It's just something that happened. So, I get a call from Steve Byrne.
Okay.
And Steve goes, "You want to go to Israel?"
How long ago was this?
14 years ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
12, 14, I don't know. And I go, "Why? I don't want to do a show there." And he goes, "No, I got a call and they're flying out a bunch of comedians and actors and it's a free trip." And I go, "Why?" "I don't know. They just want to show us the country and their culture. And you get nice hotels, free meals, and you get a tour of like..."
Are you not performing?
No.
Nothing. Okay.
So I went.
So doesn't this explain why we have waves of celebrities that come out in support of the genocidal state in Israel? This shows how easily celebrities can be bought out. Just straight out. They give you a tour of this country. They avoid the apartheid regions.
Right.
No conversation with the Palestinians. You know the Palestinians in Israel that don't have free speech rights? Sorry, Aaron, what was that?
I was just saying, but they get to stay in a nice hotel, so hey.
Yeah. So Palestinians don't have free speech in Israel. They can't post about what's going on in Gaza and the West Bank. There have been Palestinians that have been imprisoned and tortured in Israel for sharing images of what happened in Gaza over the last few years. But Americans will tell you that's a democracy. Isn't that interesting? But I'm gonna let the story continue because he's gonna explain how the celebrity capitalist class is bought out by Israel.
Went there with Jamie Chung, Brian Greenberg, they're actors, and Steve Lopez went out, George Lopez.
Okay.
And we went out there, and then when we got there, they were like, "Welcome." We're like, "Thanks." And they were like, "But every day you have to tweet how great Israel is."
Every day.
Yeah, like put out a tweet.
They told you have to, and they didn't say anything about that before you left?
I don't remember them saying it before.
But they might have?
They could have.
Right, maybe they said it to Steve, and Steve conveniently left it out.
I don't know, but I do know that I feel like if they did say it, that I would have questioned it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Aware. So this is the early days of Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So when was Twitter's only like 12 years old?
It was 10 years ago then. I don't know.
How old Twitter? Oh, there it is.
2006.
Israel Unfiltered. So 2006.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So 2006. When was that?
Look at your face.
Yeah. I have to tweet. Yeah. But here's what happened. As soon as I tweeted the first thing, I already knew, like, oh my God, I think I'm in trouble.
What did you say?
I just said, Israel's great. They're beautiful people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then, like, it was just like, and they flew us out here for free. And then you would just get 1,000, like, you know what I mean? That were like, Palestinian, and going, you motherfucker, and just, it was like.
Deserved.
Right, because who would have thought? Yeah.
Deserved. Because, like, this is obviously a PR campaign for you to show for apartheid state. And I would be embarrassed to take a part of this. Like, and if you don't know that, you can be like, all right, maybe this could be a learning lesson. And you hear people reach out to you and tell you how evil the state of Israel is. This is the point where anyone who's a good faith person is like, man, this is fucked up. Now, credit to Bobby Lee. He saw that first. He's like, man, I got really uncomfortable. He didn't speak out against it himself. You guys gonna see how spineless these people actually are because they're afraid to give their actual opinion on the state of Israel. So he read these comments with Palestinians telling him about how evil the state is, and that doesn't change his overall opinion about Israel. He's just worried that this is bad for his public image. So I'm gonna allow him to play. You guys see what I'm talking about?
It's like negative, and there was these gigantic wars that would go on in the comment section.
Oh boy,
It just got really uncomfortable. And then I just remember, yeah, there I am.
Look at you. Nice hat. Bro, you should wear that all the time.
I know, I look cute with it.
Is that the famous wall?
That's the wall, yeah.
What did it feel like to be around that wall? That wall's old as fuck, right? How old's that wall?
I put a note in it.
Wow.
You could write little letters. You know what I mean?
Letters to Jesus.
Yeah. And you put
Dear
it in there.
Jesus, when you come
I think
back.
mine was like, let me get more pussy or whatever. But
Nice.
yeah. But like
That wall, how old's that wall? 19 BC.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then toward the end, I was just like, I got to get the fuck out of here, I think. Yeah, I was just like.
How many tweets did you make? And did you keep going after they were attacking you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You have to.
You have
Otherwise,
to.
you don't get your hotel.
Yeah.
I would say no. You guys see how these people so like? Why would you keep doing it? At that point, I would be like, all right, no, just send me home. Don't you guys got fuck you money? What does fuck you money mean if you're at Elon Musk and you're going to Auschwitz to please the Israeli lobby?
Yeah. That's a horrifying photo opportunity there. That was horrifying to see.
So if they have fuck you money and they still do this, that means they want to. That means they want to go on with the establishment. But I'll let it continue because I want to show you guys the cowardly fence sitting because this is the first part of the video. You see how they buy out celebrities, and now you guys see if we will get an opinion from Bobby or Rogan regarding the genocide that Israel's carrying out. Will we at all? Let's see.
It was like a
What
free
you gonna
thing.
do?
And I didn't know the significance of it until later, almost like, you know what I mean? Or not the significance, but like what the impact of it, you know?
Right.
Because I obviously, obviously I have my opinions about it, you know what I mean? That I'm keeping to myself, but it's like.
Why are you keeping them to yourself?
Right.
How
You're on
long?
a giant platform.
Just like Beyonce. I got people I know very close to me that love Beyonce, man. So the Beyonce code is so weird, man. Like it's so absurd. Beyonce don't tweet one thing about genocide in Gaza.
No.
How long are we gonna let these motherfuckers get away with being fence sitters? Cowardly fencer, but I'll let it continue. Because Joe Rogan gonna stay on that fence too.
It's not fully aligned, you know what I mean, with what people think that I should be, you know. You have to be careful because I live in LA and,
Oh, I hear you.
yeah.
Look, it's a complicated issue.
It's so
I gotta be careful because I live out in LA. So I have a question for you guys. Actually, it's more of a quote. To learn who rules over you, ask who you're not allowed to question. So how does it not cross these people's mind at any point that I'm afraid to criticize Israel? That means there's something wrong with the fact that I'm afraid to criticize a foreign country. Aren't you guys the free speech people? Aren't you guys the people that hated the social justice words because they wanted to limit speech? But here you are, self-censoring on behalf of the Zionists. And then Rogan goes on to say that it's complicated. Fam, what did I tell you about people who say that? The biggest probably, and it is someone who I follow foreign policy all the time. I follow a lot of different conflicts. There are a lot of complicated conflicts out there, right? Like when I talk about Taiwan and Taiwan separatist movement, that's a complicated issue because a lot of Taiwanese people want independence from China, but at the same time, they still enjoy the relationship with China and they support the status quo. The majority of Taiwan supported the separatist party and the separatist movement, but according to polls, 80% of Taiwan want the status quo. That's what I call a complicated issue. I will acknowledge that Taiwan's complicated, but Israel-Palestine is the definition of not a complicated issue. There are Europeans and Poland and Polish people that wanted to live in this land where indigenous people live because they wanted to create a holy land. So they committed a genocide to kick them out, and now they're engaging in a settler colonial experiment in order to have a holy land for Jews. It's a settler colonial issue. It is not complicated. For the people who think it's complicated, Israel has not have one prime minister that was non-European. Benjamin Netanyahu is Polish.
Right.
And
A
people
lot
think
of
it's
people do not know
complicated.
that.
Yeah, most people don't know. He's Polish. And then there was Americans that were taken kidnapped on October 7th. Americans? What? What are you talking about? Americans in the homeland of the Jews in Israel. There are Americans who go over to Israel to go on the discovery trips. And in order to do that, they got displaced Palestinians. Not a complicated issue at all. It's so uncomplicated. Israel has a lobby called AIPAC to pay politicians who don't support Israel. And if you question this, they get rid of you. So if you want to know why the United States support Israel, that's the answer. You see how simple this issue actually is? United States support Israel.
Explain.
Very easy. AIPAC buys our politicians. Capital decide our elections. 97% of elections are decided by capital. AIPAC donates to politicians, which leads the politicians to be loyal to Israel. How is this a complicated issue? But let it continue. Let's listen to this pathetic, weaselly behavior by Rogan here.
I'm keeping.
And I find it funny because Rogan prides himself as one of the people that I tell it out how it is. I won't let anyone to make me bite my tongue. But watch how uneasy they are talking about Israel, though.
To myself, but it's like, it's not fully aligned, with what people think that I should be. You have to be careful because I live in LA, and
Oh, I hear you.
yeah.
Look, it's a complicated issue,
It's so complicated.
and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's when you look at the video of when they do an overhead of what Gaza used to look like and what it looks like now.
I
I mean,
don't know.
it's insane. It's fucking insane.
It's gonna take over a year to clean up just the rubble.
Oh my god!
But it's like 25,000 now,
At least
They
they don't know how many people are dead. They have no idea.
and just the
half the population is women and children.
and the trauma and the fucking famine. It's just I just can't even comprehend it, really.
Yeah, and the Israelis tell you that it's necessary, and that they have to get rid of Hamas, and this is the way to do it. But just
I mean, I
Jesus
believe
Christ.
that. I believe that.
Why do you believe that?
Right. Why would you ever believe that? Seems like an absurd thing to believe.
Why would you believe that? Unless you want to believe that. We have grown-ass men in this country that tell themselves fairy tales so they can sleep at night. They just described the destruction in Gaza, and in order to cope with the destruction they just described, Rogan almost on instinct says, well, Israeli said we had to get rid of Hamas. I agree with them. I think that makes sense.
Right.
Just justifying a genocide. In what universe is engaging in collective punishment and raising cities fucking in coordination with international law? So I will ask these people how you define terrorist. Because Hamas will be evil because they're terrorists, right? What's supposed to make someone a terrorist is someone who fight without rules and bounds. A terrorist is someone who believes they can engage in any action whatsoever, international law be damned, in order to accomplish the political goal. That's a terrorist. If you believe that Israel can do whatever they want to the Palestinians in order to get rid of Hamas, even international law be damned, you are a terrorist. That is the terrorist position. You can do whatever you want to get rid of your enemies. I am one of the few people that can actually define terrorism. That's why they had to lie about October 7th, Aaron. Because if people realize that Hamas didn't engage in mass rape, that it was a legitimate military operation, then people can't just like, oh man, Hamas is evil terrorist. They would grapple with the fact that they're in a conflict and Israel got their ass beat by Hamas in a legitimate military battle. Meanwhile, Israel do not engage in legitimate military battles. They bomb hospitals. They bomb children. And Rogan is going to pretend he doesn't know that. Listen to this next part.
Way to do it.
I'm going to play the Hamas part.
Yeah, and the Israelis tell you that it's necessary, and that they have to get rid of Hamas, and this is the way to do it. But just
I mean, I believe that. I believe that.
Wow.
I believe that maybe that should be, but I think the approach could be different.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
or no?
I don't have any expertise in war,
Neither.
but I'm horrified that
You do not have to be a military expert to call out war crimes. I'm not an expert in war.
Yeah, that's a
I'm not
cop-out.
an expert in war. You don't have to be an expert in war to know that targeting hospitals is bad. You guys see this mealy mouth bullshit that we're hearing right now? Enough with the fencing. But Aaron, do you want to chime in? I heard you want to chime in. Anything you want to add before I finish the last few seconds here?
I mean, I think Rogan has just always been this. This is his role, right? He's essentially the half truths, and people think he is the epitome of the truth teller. So this is his role.
Yeah. So I'll play the last part of this clip.
That should be, but I think the approach could be different,
yeah,
right?
well,
Or no?
I don't.
Sorry, I gotta say this again because that's what bothered me too. You see, the approach can be different. They're rooting for Hamas to be ruled out. They're just uncomfortable that they're killing kids in the process.
Right.
And I don't like that position. Why are you guys rooting against the resistance movement, fighting against the terrorist country that is doing the things that you're describing? You just described how they slaughtered 25,000 people, mostly women and children. You just described how they destroy a city, but you're rooting against the people resisting them?
Right.
How does that make sense? I'm not asking people to have my radical ass position of endorsing Hamas. I'm not asking you to have that. I am asking people to stop condemning resistance. You guys realize Hamas and the Palestinians are going up against the most unhinged, violent racists in the world. People who are redefining war. Barack Obama was a crazy, psychopathic war criminal, Aaron. But when Barack Obama bombed a hospital, they went on a PR campaign, an apology tour. It was something they acknowledged as being bad.
Right.
There is no functioning hospitals in Gaza.
Yeah.
Now, Israel has made journalists, UN, hospitals, children, they made those valid targets for war. They changed war forever. People don't know what this means. They normalized the use of white phosphorus.
Mm-hmm.
They normalized the use of going after medical infrastructures. That's why the ICJ's ruling tomorrow is extremely important, because if they rule that Israel is not committing a genocide, they just tossed the idea of international law, the Geneva Conventions, away. Because if this is not a genocide, there's no such thing as one that is. I'll let the last few seconds play, and I'll pass to you, Aaron. We get ready to wrap up. I know it's been a little bit longer straight out planned, but let me play the last part and we can wrap up.
Have any expertise in war,
Neither.
but I'm horrified that they can just shoot missiles into buildings, and they tell people to get out, but then they bomb the areas where they're going to. I mean, the whole thing's nuts, man. It's nuts, and it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous.
I'm glad that Rogan calls out the fact that they bomb civilian areas and safe spaces, right? But if you see Israel bombing civilian areas and safe spaces, what makes you say that this is a complicated issue?
Right. Why wouldn't the next thing be, okay, so, we need to call for a ceasefire. We need to be backing resistance. We need to ensure this never happens again. None of that, of course, is said. I don't think that Rogan is in a position of, I don't think he is what a lot of people think he is, right? You don't get that much money and power by kind of going against the establishment, if you will.